Good morning, class. Well, here we are another day, and we're going to learn how to include everyone. As you know, in our classroom, we always go to our bag of a better world, our bag of a better world, and we pull out all of our goods. But, of course, we always start the day off with a verse from Mandela. Here's Mandela's poster, which I also have posted on the board. And today, the statement that we're going to use from Mandela is right here. If you can see it, if not on here, look at the board. It says, I like friends who have independent minds. They tend to make you see problems from all angles. Now, that's important because a lot of times we get stuck in our mind. We think our way is the only way. But if we sit back and listen sometime to what others is having to say, we'll be surprised the input that they have to the conversation, but more so how alike we are rather than how unalike we are. So that is our model for today, to just listen and take heed to those who have a different mindset than what you have, all right? And as far as moving on to our vocabulary words, we know that as we used to do it, we would have our vocabularies listed prior to class. But after some conversations, we've decided that, and when I say we, I mean us as a group, we've decided that the words in the novel that we're reading, they pop up. And then we like to have a discussion. But what I ask is that you write down the word, and then I'll allow so many minutes prior to the end of class for A, discussion of the novel, B, discussion of the words, and then also we always discuss how this person in the novel is similar to you, what's going on in your life. And those are our rules, as we know. So moving on, we are going to go now to one of our books, and I'm using this book for the simple fact it's called Kindred Spirits, Forever Friends. And the reason that I've selected this as our example, I know it's not our book, Matela. I know this is not our book, but this represents what was presented in class a few days ago. Instead of me selecting who is going to read next, that y'all select who's going to read next. And so when I saw this on my coffee table at home, I said, this is a perfect example. Kindred Spirits, Forever Friends. So, Michaela, if you start off, and when you finish reading your couple of paragraphs, then you go ahead and select another student. But in doing that, this is y'all project. In doing this, when the person gets stuck on a word or words, you have to be able to interject with them and correct them, not in a mean way, not in a sense of bullying, but in a sense of embracing and helping them to understand the word and become better. Now, if it's a word that neither one of you understand, we'll jot it down and we will discuss it. So that's why I'll leave this on my desk, so whenever we're reading, we'll know that a kindred spirit, that's what we're here for, okay? Now, to move on to our project, which is the book we are actually reading, and the book we are reading right now is Breaking Point, as we all know. And in this novel, we are approximately 80% through with this book. And our main character, Vicky, is going through a lot of changes. Remember, she's a sophomore in high school. And life is just, well, a lot of you are just in ninth grade right now, but you're at that point where things are starting to seem kind of weird and it's not going the way you want it. But by the time you get to high school, it really is. So in reading the book, Breaking Point, we have covered a lot of ground on it. What's that, you? Yes, that's true, Vicky. That is true. Your name is Vicky and the character's name. That is so true, Vicky. That she's having issues. So, in reading this, we'll come. Yeah, we can discuss that point. Yeah, the point. Let's discuss the point in regards to the word quinceañera. Quinceañera. She is getting ready to have her friend Teresa is celebrating her 15th birthday party, and she is inviting. And for those of you, we've discussed last week that is a celebration in the Latino community of celebrating someone's 15th birthday, her coming of age. Whereas, as Tiffany spoke about, in the African American community, we have our cotillion, which is our senior year of high school, which is our coming out. But not only do we have a cotillion, we have a botillion, which is for our young men, their coming out celebration. So if everyone has brought something to the table that represents their culture, and although we have different cultures, what have we found out? That's right, Sarah. We found out that we are still all the same. But the main thing that I really wanted us to bring out, yeah, that is correct, Michael. That is so correct. I agree with you, is that although this book was written in approximately 1980, she's got a lot of things going on, and you're looking at it from the perspective of her boyfriend. Well, she has two boyfriends, really. One that was the ex and one that's the current. But you're speaking in perspective to her current boyfriend and how he is protective of her, which brought protective, or, well, as we discussed, we wouldn't say protective of her. He's more like hovering over her, wanting to know at all times what she's doing. And as Sev talked about the other day, is that a good thing at this young age to have someone, either male or female, questioning you about your whereabouts and why come you didn't do X, Y, and Z? True. That is so true. Thank you, Lydia. The point that you brought up is that although the book was written in 1980 and Vicky's in the 10th grade, and she just thinks everything is blowing up her, like, oh my God, my life is ending. My father's unemployed. Remember, this is 1980. Her father's lost his job. Whereas what's happening right now in 2020, a lot of people have lost their job. Her mother is the breadwinner, and her mother is so stressed out from trying to hold on to it. And another point that we brought into this story is that, excuse me, that's bringing more issues, not a problem, but more weight on her mother's shoulder, which could be her breaking point. She's lost her mother, the children's grandmother, and now her mother's father is living with her. We're living with the family, and he's in his late 80s. So that's another stressor on her. But remember, we spoke about cultural. Well, in her culture, it's you bring the elders into the family. In my culture, we bring the elders into the family. In some other cultures, they put their family members in a nursing home or whatever is necessary. But she felt it her responsibility to bring her father into her household. And with Vicky being the daughter who had to give up her room for her grandfather, she just feels like most teenagers, like, dang, I don't have a room now, I don't have no privacy, and I can't talk to my boyfriend, and the whole world is against me. What am I going to do? Well, I can remember being a sophomore back in 1970, feeling the same way. And I know a lot of y'all are starting to feel that way about certain things, but as we say, things might change, but things stay the same. And I think we've had a good discussion today, but before we close out, let's speak about the most important thing. Like we said, things change, but things are the same, and we all are the same. And that brings us back to inclusion. You know how your mother might cook a Sunday dinner, and she might fix some cheese macaroni? Well, within that cheese and macaroni, she has the cheese, she has the noodles, she has the spices, and they're all separated on the table. When you're looking at all these things, you're like, wow. But then when she fixes it And it all comes together. There's inclusion. It all comes together, and she bakes it and brings it out the oven. And there's this beautiful cheese melting on top of this gorgeous cheese and macaroni that you just saw maybe an hour ago with all these different spices. But it's come together. And when you take that first bite, it is delicious. And that's what life is about. When we all come together, we become delicious. And another example I want to show you of inclusion is this picture I found of this bouquet. I love flowers. I love for people to send me flowers. But I would be very upset, and I'm going to be honest, if I just received a vase, say for example, that just had this carnation in it. I'd be like, I thank you, but I think something missing. But when you add in the baby breath and all the other different types of flowers, and you put it in a vase, now you have a beautiful bouquet. And that's what inclusion is. All the different flowers, each one of you is a different piece of this bouquet. And we're all come together, it's inclusion. And it smells wonderful, and you can sit back and look at and marvel at the beauty of it. So it's easier to work together as one than to work together separately. Well, my young adults, I hope y'all have a good day today. Remember, stay safe in them hallways. And tomorrow we will finish up Breaking Point. Like I said, we're right at the end. And a lot's going to happen that y'all are going to be really like, wow. But on the same end, you're going to be very proud of how it ends. And after that, we'll start a new book. But remember, we always take a piece of Mandela with us and try to live by some of those words, or whomever you admire, and try to live by those words. And remember the flower, remember our plant, or that cheese macaroni. We are all mixed together to make a better world. Thank you.